Come on into the room. Let us know your branch of service, state or country that you're living in. We're going to get started in a few moments here. Waiting for a few more people to join us on the live stream. I am the H-Town Vet, and I would like to welcome you to this live stream. Okay, we're going to get ready to get started. Today, we're talking about the VA decision letter. The VA decision letter. This is one of the most important VA compensation documents that they have, because it lets you know whether you won your claim or you lost your claim, whether it was approved or not. Now, the important thing that we try to do here at the H-Town Vet is to let you know how things connect to each other. Because a lot of times when you're getting information about veteran benefits, it's usually piecemeal. It's only certain things. They give you a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but they don't connect the information in a way that gives you a comprehensive understanding of it. And that's what we're trying to do here. Now, I would like to think of the H-Town Vet as a central location where you can come and we can bring all this information together through the information that we provide and also through the information that you provide. It's important to look at it like a CPU. The ultimate goal is to get your claims approved. Now, everybody's going to take different roads. Some handled their claims on their own. Some got it through a VSO. Some also chose lawyers. But whatever way you do, you want to make sure that you're informed when it comes to this information. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. Now, we're going to sometime bring this up because there's new people to the channel. This idea of the VA expert. We try to cover this information because there's a lot of people that purport to be an expert or very knowledgeable when it comes to these benefits. And our goal here at the H-Town Vet is to make sure that you are informed when it comes to anybody that purports to help you with your benefits, because when anything involves money, there are going to be hustlers, there are going to be scammers. Now, I have no problem with anyone that helps veterans in a way where we're going to explain that in a second. So that's the question. So we're gonna explain that. The question is, how do you protect yourself from being taken advantage of by a so-called expert? How do you do that? Anybody got anything? Give some shout outs. Let me know if you can hear me. That my sound is loud enough. Let us know in the chat, please. And if you don't mind, if you can answer the question, if if you'd like to. Now, dealing with these so-called experts, how do you protect yourself from somebody claiming to be one? Because there's some good people that out here that help people. Some of them charge money, some don't. How do we protect ourselves? When you have people, some saying that, they can make your claims, they can be simple, they can be fast, or they can be easy. Very seldom are claims simple, fast, or easy. And I want you to understand that. Now, I've had a claim that took 2 months to approve when I went from 50 to 70%. But that's an exception to the rule, not the rule. And so it's important that you understand this. That right now they're about to have something going on. They're about to have an election. We need to know. We need to be informed on how things like that is going to affect our benefits. What policies? We need to start being active in these things. Now, one of the best ways to deal with someone who's purporting to help you with your benefits is to verify the information, even if it's from another veteran, because their situation may be different from yours. Okay? We got Kevin in the house. We thank you for being here, Kevin. We appreciate you. What's good? It's all good because you here, brother. Now, verify. That's what we do, because people will tell you things and they'll promise you things, but sometimes it's just lip service. So we have to be able to verify the information. And if you tell me something, I'm going to check to see if it's right. If I tell you something, you need to verify that information. You have an open access. Sooner, let me know if y'all would be willing to get on video, like doing the stream. Let us know, because we're going to try to set that up coming up in the future. Now, anybody, this is a red flag. I'm going to tell you the red flags. If somebody tells you that they'll represent you, but you have to sign a NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement, no, it's dealing with your money and you can't say nothing if they burn you. No such thing. Don't sign anything. You should have the right to say whatever you want to. Non-disclosure, excuse me? Now, what you want instead of non-disclosure, you want full disclosure. You want to know everything. Tell me what's going on, how you're going to help me, and we're going to get into that here. We got a couple more slides. We're going to keep it moving. Now, one thing that you can ask them, and this is really important, ask them about veteran satisfaction. How many veterans? All right. We want to give a shout out to Alyssa Johnson. Thank you. She said very true. Thank you very much. I think we also got Military Mike in the house. We thank you for joining us, brother. We missed you on the last broadcast, but we glad to have you here tonight. Look, you ask them, what's your, not that necessarily that they're going to be honest, but you ask them, how many veterans are satisfied with your work? Do you keep track of that? That might throw them off. Okay, this is very important. Now, we're going over some good information. Now, here's the questions. We usually ask who, what, where, why, and when, and where. When you ask how, you also need to ask how much. So when they're talking, how much? If they're going to be representing or helping you, how much do they get? Whether this to be a lawyer, one of the first things I want to know is how much. Once the information that they say they can help you and you think they can do it, how much? This is very important. And if they're nervous about talking about that, And here's another thing you can put that'll really let you know if they really rocking with you or not, or legit. Ask them, do they give money back guarantees? Or if they give, if they help you in some type of way, get you some percentage, I think that's respectable. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't have no problem with that. And right now we're talking about people that may charge you to help get your VA disability compensation. Now, let me say this. If somebody helps you get your benefits, I don't think you should back out on them. If you sign something, you should show respect. Now, let's see what our brother Mike is saying here, Military Mike. I like to ask them about their record, wins and losses. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, wins. Now, this is a good one. Ask them, what percentage of wins do you have? What percentage of losses? Now, that's a real direct question there. Now, another thing we need to focus on is, that's what we need to do is focus. As an individual, we can't depend totally on them. We need to be focused. We need to know what we're trying to do, what we're trying to claim. We cover this and how to win a successful claim, VA claim. Yes, we do. Focus on what you're doing, what you're trying to get. And you need to also be consistent. See, this is a big problem among veterans. A lot of times we're not consistent. Okay? If they deny you, don't get discouraged. File for an appeal. This is what you need to do. Now, let us know. This is a scale that I come up with. We're going to get to the information that we talked about, but I want to make sure that everybody's on top of things, okay? We got, I think this is the first time we've had this individual here. Let's see. Well, we're not really talking about that right now. You're about the debate. Right now, we're trying to finish this information up. I ain't trying to divert from my channel. But I will take this here. What's going on? I'm doing good, brother. Right now, we're dealing with the debate about VA benefits. So whatever else going on over there, we'll get to it when we get to it. I can watch it on record. Now, but thank you. It's good for us to be informed. I did say that earlier. Thank you for joining us. Now, hear what we're saying. When we're dealing with where are you at right now, you could answer it in the chat, or you could just say it to yourself. I broken it up into range of percentages. 0 to 20% is low, 30 to 50% is moderate, 60 to 90% is considerable, temporary 100% IU is high, and ultimate is 100% permanent total, or TDIU, which is another form of permanent and total. Now, the brother say I don't know if it's male or female, but you say you're from California. Glad to have you. Everybody, give a shout out to him. Eventually, let us know what you think. Your I think it's Papa. I don't know how to say it. Piro. Let us know if you think y'all would like to get on camera sometime. But I will show you my face for a moment here. And we're going to go back to, I am the H-Town Vet, and we'd like to welcome you to this live stream. Thank you for joining us. Okay. Now, let's see what Military Mike has said. When my rep decided to help me, I asked how much is it going to cost me. He told me that I had to decide that anything is appreciated. Well, if they, that's good, but the Bible says, and all you get an understanding. So, anything is appreciated. Nah, tell them we're gonna set out a price, a percentage, because if they help you out, they might think that it's less than what they was expecting. So it's best to get an understanding. Say, nah, we're gonna, and tell them an amount and say, is that okay? Do you think it should be a little higher? Or is that too much? Let them know. Now we got somebody, we got a new person in here. Look here. M4 Miami. I hear you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us on this live stream. We're gonna continue on. Let us know where you fall at. Now, here's the important thing. Now, this is, let me see what our brother said. Hold on. Checking in from Hollywood, Florida. There is a Hollywood in Florida. Glad to see you here, brother. Now, we're going to talk about, and later on, we're going to have a live stream dealing with this information. Independent medical examinations. All right? When you go outside the VA system and get a doctor or doctors to help you with your claim. All right? Once I quiet 100%. Okay, let's try not to do all caps. Okay, just try not to do all caps because it's hard for me to see it, and we want to make sure it's straight. Just don't do all caps, my partner. But I appreciate you. I'll read it, but I can't because it's hard for me to read it on the screen when it's all caps. Once I acquired 100% permanent total, I remember to mention in your previous videos that you can call me for reexaminations, but that was a mistake on the VA. Will they ever do again after that situation? I'm not fully understanding you, but get back to me on that. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to give my email. I'm going to have to see you my email because I'm getting used to this technology. Now let's talk about this independent examinations, but no all caps, okay? Now let's talk about this. When you're dealing with it, you need to know what you're looking for. That's why we said you need to focus. Do you have visual impairments? Do you have back injuries? Do you have an ankle injury or PTSD or some other mental health condition you believe that's connected to your service? That's what you need to be getting these examinations for. And so you might need so a general doctor just may not do. Just having a doctor that a general practitioner, that may not really sway you the way you need to go. Because remember, you're going to be filling out these DBQs. And another thing that you need to have, many of y'all, whenever you get an independent examination, you need to have a copy of your C file. That's your claim file. That's the file that the CMP doctor that the VA send you to is supposed to go over. Well, if you get an independent examination, you need your claim file too. So you can request it through a FOIA request or just, so try to be ahead of that. Request that as soon as possible because there tends to be a delay. So like we're saying, we're talking about visual impairment, everything that your ailment is, that's what you need to focus on, letting that doctor know. Now, how do we do that? Is that one doctor? No. Depending on the situation, you may need a specialist. Now, how many people tell you that? They tell you to go to a doctor, but you need a doctor that specializes in the condition that you have. If you have cancer, you need a doctor that deals with cancer. Okay? You need to focus. For example, if you have vision, if you had something that damaged your vision while you were in the military, you have visual impairment, you need to see a doctor that deals with visual impairments. And I'm not giving one name because there are several different types of doctors that deal with eyes, that deals with vision, that deals with eye surgery. And you need to make sure that they can tell you, hey, doc, Do you believe, I need you, can you fill this out for me and tell me whether you believe this is connected to my military service? That's why you need a copy of your C file, which is your claims file, where they can look over the information, do an examination of you with a DBQ, which is a disability benefits questionnaire, with your C file, those two things. That'll be powerful evidence. That'll be a powerful way for them to help you based on what they see you have right now, and looking into your C file, your claim file with the VA, and say, hey, okay, all right. And they put it on, because the problem with a lot of the DBQs, they're not filled out properly by the doctor, because you have to give them the right information. Now let's see, here go our brother. He said something. Okay, I'm going for 100% permanent total. I remember in your previous video, you mentioned that the folks with PNT got called in reexaminations. They did. It was the mistake on the VA. Will they ever do that again with folks with PNT? The VA, remember, what he's referring to is what we talked about in our last live stream, dealing with the 4 types of 100%. What it was, the IG, Office of Inspector General, they evaluated the VA to see were they doing effective things when it comes to handling VA claims. And it was found out that they called in veterans with a permanent rating more than everybody else, more than people with temporary ratings. Matter of fact, it wasn't really much on the temporary ratings. They were focusing on people that was 100% permanent and total. Here's the thing. The VA may do it, but we don't depend on what they do and don't do. You want to be prepared for the next step. Once you're 100% permanent total, you need to already start how I'm going to protect these benefits if they try to call me in for a reevaluation. That's what you need to do. Already be ready for that. The only way your benefits can't be decreased is if you had that 100% for 20 years straight. Okay? Or you've been paid at the 100% rate for 20 years straight. Part of it could be IU, part of it could be 100% permanent total. As long as you've been paid at 100% rate for 20 years, they're going to continue to pay that, all right? So we're talking about the visuals here. Now let's see what Amp has to say. Do you think Nexus letters are necessary because they charge veterans a bunch of money that they really don't have? Now, here's the thing. We talked about that. I'm very surprised about veterans being charged a lot for a Nexus letter. Try to get a Nexus letter from a doctor that you see on a constant basis. Because if a doctor, let me say this here. Nexus letters are a good thing to have, number one. But if you get a Nexus letter like from a puppy mill where they just generating them, if it's not backed up by the evidence and VA law, it ain't gonna mean anything. So they need time. They can't just come up with something. They need your C file, which is your your claims file, and they need to have been seeing you for several times. That's very important. Let me see. Can a solid personal statement be an effective as a Nexus letter? It depends, Military Mike. If you are a combat veteran, you are considered a reliable historian. So yes, I've never thought about it this way, but that is a Nexus letter. Or if you've been experienced, what they call it, MST, military S trauma. Wasn't nobody there when it happened. But if you have other little evidence, like you went into the emergency room, okay, or you reported it to somebody, if you got their name, if that person was punished for violating you, these are things that you need. But when it comes to combat, you are considered a reliable historian. I was able to write a letter about what I experienced, and they had to accept it as truth because, nobody's really taking notes in the middle of a war zone. If they were, they crazy. Now, as I asked several doctors, they know nothing about the letters, or were not willing to write one. This is a common thing. Okay, this is what you got to do. Don't spook them don't scare them off with the Nexus letter terminology. You're going to talk to them. You got to come at them a different way. You say, Doc, I need your help. Could you let me know if you think after they see you, do you think my condition is more likely than not related to my military service? But have them look over your C file, your claim file. You want them to give you a Nexus letter without evidence. How they going to do that? They need to know something about your military service. Either that's through your claim file or through what you're telling them. You can't just walk up and ask for a letter without somebody trying to charge you a whole bunch of money. And that may not go nowhere. Now, but thanks for asking the question, brother. Now, also, you may need a back specialist. You may have a back injury, and that different doctors handles different parts of the back. Okay? You may have a muscle tear. You may have bone. Your vertebrae might be out of whack. So you need different ones that deals with that. I would get a Nexus letter if you giving them in-service medical records. So you can get your C file, you can get your in-service medical records or personnel records and have them look over those. So those are key things. Your C file, which is your claim file at the VA, and your in-service medical records, or any other doctor that says, that's independent doctor that says it's connected to, especially a specialist. So when you're dealing, let's say you have an ankle injury, you get a joint specialist and tell them you used to jump out of airplanes, if you did, if that was your MOS, or how it happened. Now let's see what we have. Okay, the VA bumped me from 40% in 2009, and another bump in 2019 to 90%. Now I am appealing for 100%. Does the 20 years start from 2009, or when I get the 100% permanent total? Now let me. That's a very good question. So Yandel is in the house, and she's going to give you. You see what Yandel does? I guess you could call it my co-host. All right, Yandel gives you the websites to go to get this information. Now that's a very good question. No, so if you were bumped from in 2009, you received 40%. 20 years after that, they can never take away your 40%. So 2009, 2019, 2029. Okay, so that'll be 20 years. You'll be 40%. They can lower you down to 40% if you get an increase, but they can't take you no lower than that. Now, when you got that bump to 90% in 2019, all right, when you got that in 2019, if you have that for 20 years, talking about from 2019 to 2029 to 2039, that'll be your 20 years, 2039 for your 90%. Once you've had that, and they never reduced you during that time period, if you received a reduction during that time period, they're going to take you down to your lowest point in that 20-year period. Now, dealing with the 100%, it doesn't have to be permanent total. It can be as long as you paid at the 100%, you could be unemployability, temporary 100% for 20 years. Once you've had it for 20 years, guess what? Once you had that for 20 years, it's set. They can't take it away unless they prove fraud. Now let's look at what Yandel has here. She's showing the websites where you can get medical exams, disability exams. Now the VA don't like you going to independent doctors, right? But they can't stop you from doing it because they supposed to consider it the same way. Here's the problem. Oh, she's saying it right here. All is submit their private medical information for consideration during the process of their benefits. VA values evidence from your private treatment providers because they are familiar with your medical history, often over a long period of time. You don't see a CP examiner or whatever they call it, the exam now. You don't see them at one time. So who knows you better? A doctor that you've seen over a long period of time? Let me see what she said, period of time. VA appreciates the trusted and specialist relationship between the private treating provider and their veteran patients. They're supposed to, and especially if that doctor's at the VA, you might have a doctor at the VA that is very good and puts all this in your medical records. Get a copy of your medical records every time you go to an appointment with your doctor. Wait about a week or two and see what they wrote about you. If that's information that you can use towards your benefits, do it. Now, let's see what Military Mike is talking about here. Would I really need a Nexus letter if the military did a line of duty investigation for an accident and I still have all of the paperwork from the LOD? Now, here's the thing. That can be used as evidence, but the VA, they something else now. They said that I wasn't in combat, but all over my DD-214, I had to send a copy of my DD-214 to show that I was in combat. They may get the information and not read it. So you need to do what you call send that information, copies of it. Don't give them your originals. Send that information. Also, you need to outline what you want them to do with that information. That's where the focus come in. That's why you need that supportive claim form that we're going to talk about a little later here. All right. This is really important. So yes, that could be very effective, but they're going to need, it depends how long you've been out of the military. If you just got out, they'll go back to the date of the injury if you're about to get out. But I ask for a medical board, Mike, if you can do that while you're in the reserves. Okay, now, what is VRE? VRE is just Voc Rehab, the new name, Veteran Readiness and Employment now. That's what it's called. They just changed the name. And do you recommend going for it before I get my approval for 100%? Or should I wait until I get my approval? Now, that's I can give you my opinion. Here, I'm going to be opinionated. Me personally, I wouldn't, because if you complete a training that shows that you're employable, that you develop a certificate or training, they could use that to keep you from getting your 100%. Once you get 100%, if you get some type of trade, they could use that to reduce you, saying, oh, you're employable because of this. But many people say they take the program and they have no issues. But I always err on the side of caution. Thank y'all. Y'all have wonderful questions. And I know they got something going on with this debate tonight, but I'm going to put out the information of what we're doing anyway. So if you got it, we here. Now, here's another one. This is the one that's going to focus on what we're talking about tonight. Okay. What's that? Mental health specialist. This could be a psychiatrist. This could be a psychologist. This could be I forget they call them a practical nurse that deals with mental health issues. Now let's see. So you need to make sure that person is qualified to deal with whatever condition or illness that you have, because if you send information to the VA and they're not qualified to give a diagnosis. So like, for example, you got PTSD, but you got a back doctor filling out talking about you got mental health problems. Or you got a vision doctor talking about your ankle. They're not qualified, even though they may be an MD. So now let's see what our people have here. I think I answered that question. Okay, I did. Now let me see what here. Okay, we answered that one also. Now let us continue. Let's see what we got. Somebody always enjoy. Hold on, we got a new person in here. International, Mr. International, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. And please, I didn't put it in there tonight, but please like, share, and subscribe. And click on the notifications for our next live stream or video. Now, here's another theory. Lumbar scar strain aggravated beyond natural progress by in service ruck march. Okay, so let me ask you this here. So are you alluding to the fact that you had the condition prior to military, but it was aggravated during your service? You still can get service connection for the aggravation if that's what you're talking about. Now let's see what our sister Yandale is saying. I had to send a message to get ER doctor to add a lot of things that she said during my visit, but was not in my notes. She asked how I knew. She did not add them. I told her, my healthy vet, you better keep them in check. You go check your notes. If you do a CMP exam and that doctor forgot to mention anything, you need to have that documented. If they allow you to have somebody else in the room with you, or if they allow you to record, you don't have to do that. But I'm just saying, let them know. Yeah, but you know what you do when you first get out of CMP exam or you come out of the emergency room, because they look at emergency room visits. That's one of the reasons I was able to get my benefits, because I had a few issues where I had to go in there to the emergency room. I wasn't a happy camper. One time wasn't on my own, had a family member taking me there, and I wanted to put hands on him, but it was out of love. My grandmother told him to send me there, take me there, and I was really hot about the situation, But thank God for my grandmother and my uncle for helping me. Yeah, but I was pretty hot at him, Now, she asks you, she asks, you can see my notes? Yes. Now, so I was told by somebody, they were surprised about that, because back in the day, they were having records, some that they would release to veterans, and they have a thing where they say, this is to release to veterans. That means there was something that they didn't release. See, this is the way you keep your doctor on their P's and Q's, because they'll write whatever, because they got their mind on their next patient. Now, we got our brother in the house. Angel is in the house. Let's see what our brother Angel is talking about. Bro, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's a huge misunderstanding of a Nexus letter on this thread. Now, okay, here we go. I don't know what they're understanding. I want y'all to understand what a Nexus is. Follow me. If you don't have a diagnosis, you can't get a Nexus letter. Am I right? Did I not give y'all this information? First thing you need is a diagnosis. You can't go to a doctor asking for a Nexus, because a Nexus is a connection between your condition and your military service. If you haven't been diagnosed with a condition, how can they connect it to your military service? So let me follow. This is what I was saying earlier. And I'm about to get to you, Jose. We're glad you're in the building tonight. All right. I appreciate y'all. Stay as long as y'all can. I wasn't trying to conflict with the political event going on tonight, but I got to put this information out here. Follow me. If you want a Nexus letter, you're going to need to do a couple of things. First thing, you need to make sure you already have a diagnosis for the condition that you want to claim that's connected to your military service. So once you have a diagnosis, and then once you have where you say it happened in your military service, the only way you're going to have that is some type of record. Or if you are a combat veteran, write a letter to the doctor. Or if you got anything in your in-service military records, you need to submit that so they can connect your military service to your current diagnosis. But if there's no current diagnosis, the first thing the doctor needs to do is give you a diagnosis. People are throwing this Nexus letter thing around. I'm not saying y'all are tonight, but they need to know what it means. It's a connection. Unless you have the other two elements, your military service records or your claim file. It might be in your claim file that shows that it's related to your military service, and your diagnosis. Unless you have those two things, you can't get a Nexus. Understand? And if you do get one, the VA gonna want to know, how is this connected to your military service? And if the doctor does not clearly explain that, they can't explain it unless they have some familiarity with your military service through documentation, not just your word all the time. We want to say thank you for being here, Jose. Jose Gomez in the house. Let's see what our brother Angel is saying. Okay, a Nexus letter is a medical support claim that supports a link. Keyword, connection, link. These are words. That's what a Nexus. A Nexus is only just a connection between your military service and your current diagnosis. If you don't have a current diagnosis that you're trying to get a Nexus for, you need to go get that diagnosis. Now, the doctor can give you a diagnosis and write you a Nexus letter, but they need to be able to connect that diagnosis to your military service. Let me finish up what he's saying. A Nexus letter is a medical support statement that supports the link between the current diagnosis and the in-service event or condition that you're claiming as a disability. Okay, you ain't gonna get this information. We connecting the information. The reason we're doing that, my goal is to bring like minds. Those of you that are trying to improve what we're doing. We're not looking for one person, no one guru to do this. We're gonna do this together. Oh, my buddies are here tonight. Hold on, my partner's here tonight. I missed him. Hold on, I'm gonna get to you. We got Bernie in the house. My VA primary care tried to pretend like he didn't know what a Nexus was. Yeah, they do that. They don't want to write the letters. So you need to come at it a different way. And if they're going to do so let me explain this here. If you can get that doctor to do a DBQ, benefits disability questionnaire, do you know that doctor can diagnose you in that? Now that you can pay some money for. Yeah, you pay a little paper for that because you want to see that doctor more than one time. Yeah, pay for that. Pay for them to give their objective opinion. Yes. So it ain't enough just get a Nexus letter. Remember the three things. What did I tell y'all? The first thing you need is a diagnosis. The second thing you need is a Nexus, which is a connection between your military service and your what? And your current condition. The third thing you need that doctor. That's why a Nexus letter by itself ain't enough. You need to get that DBQ, that disability benefits questionnaire done. Why? Because the third thing you need that doctor to say how severe my condition is. That's why you need a DBQ. They're not going to be able to tell you that, and because that's where the money come in at. That doctor could give you a 0%. Now let me talk to my brother here. Haitian stock guy said, hello, H-Town vet. Hello, my brother. Now he said, question, I filed for depression as secondary to all conditions, but CMP examiner submitted file on as depression as directly connected. What does this mean? So it caused me to be denied? If he's saying it's directly connected to your service, I'm assuming that's what you're saying. That's good. You might file for PTSD and the doctor give you a service saying, nah, you connected for PTSD. You still gonna get paid the same money? It don't matter. You might file for depression and the doctor give it to you for psychotic disorder. Mental health ratings pay the same thing and the same schedule. All you worried about, they might diagnose you with PTSD and depression. They're only going to pay you for one of them, the one that's the most severe. Remember that. Okay? Mr. International, I sent you an email. I had a client that was really diagnosed with major depressive disorder. See how I filed that claim and was granted. Check your email when you get a chance. I will do that. Thank you so much. I was wondering, was my email properly done? So now let's see what else we got going over here. Okay, here we go. My rating was 70% non-combat, but the problem is I was deployed as a 13 Bravo. Now tell me if a 13 Bravo, is that like a Cav Scout? Let me know. 13 Bravo to Iraq in a combat environment, but there's only basing it upon my second MOS from my DD-214, which was non-combat. Now, this is why you need to get your copy of your in-service medical records. We have those. But if they pay you for the non-combat, don't fight it. If they pay you for non-combat, that money spends just like combat. I'm a combat veteran. They don't show no, how can I say? You get paid the same for combat disability and non-combat. So don't sweat on that. Ain't no status thing on that, okay? All you trying to do is get paid. Now, let's see here. They're only basing it upon your last MOS, but I was deployed from my first MOS, which was a combat job in Iraq, okay? And it was for PTSD. Now, here we go. Here go Osprey. Osprey says a Nexus letter helps you when you're trying to increase an already established service-connected disability. Now, once you're service-connected, you don't need a Nexus letter, Osprey. Once you're service-connected, the Nexus letter is none and void. That's only when you're trying to establish service connection. That's it. That's what a Nexus letter job is. Once you have a Nexus letter, a Nexus or a connection between your military service and your disability, all you're focusing on then is the level of severity. Okay? All you worried about, 3 things: diagnosis, Nexus, and level of severity. Severity level. Remember that. Now, let's move on. I'm glad some of y'all stayed here tonight. I'm showing you how to get you some real money. Ain't no lying going on here. You understand? Politicians lie like, I ain't about to say something. So, I don't want to make nobody mad at me. But they'll lie like somebody you're dating. Now, let us go on. Y'all come at the right time. We haven't got into it. Have y'all ever thought about this? A disability employment specialist. Huh? So if you're having trouble working, you don't have to just talk to a doctor. You can talk to the doctor or a psychologist or your back doctor, whoever, about the physical part of it. But the actual functionality of you being able to work, go to a disability employment specialist and have them write up something saying you can't work. You understand? And if they say you can, you don't have to turn that in. But yeah, paying for it. Now have you thought about that? See, you're going to get it all here at the H-Town Vet. Now, what things are this disability employment specialist will focus on? They're going to go by different names. They're going to evaluate you, what type of job skills you have. They're going to do a job analysis to see if you what type of job you can do with your disability, and assessment of the data of you working, some of your evaluation from old jobs. And then if they come out, this is just similar to somebody in Social Security. They usually have employment specialists come in there when you're filing for Social Security to see if you're able to work. And if you get a disability employment or employment specialist say you can't work, that's powerful weight too, because your disability is based on your ability not to work. And the more severe, the less you can work, the more your disability affects your ability to work, the more severe your condition is. I know people tell you more money, more problems, But in this case, more problems, more money. You understand? Now, let's see what we got here. Excuse me. Worst scenario, if I get 100%, but it is not P&T, what do I do to upgrade to P&T? I'm so glad you asked that question. I'm so glad you asked that question. I went through that same exact situation. So you come to the right place, my friend. Do you recommend submitting another claim to the VA right away, or should I wait? No, you don't rush it. If they pay you at 100%, whether it's TDIU, go to our last video where we talk about the 4 types of 100%. Let me correct. I mean, if they give you IU, which is individual unemployability, that's a temporary 100%. If they give you a temporary 100%, that's a temporary 100%. A temporary 100% is like you get it for prostate cancer, and they know that your condition is going to improve after surgery. So if that's the case, when it gets ready to call you in for reevaluation, you go ahead and file your claim before you go to that date. As soon as you find out about it, you file for what? To be considered permanent and total. You file for P&T. If you're already getting paid at the 100% rate, based on a temporary rating, you file for a P&T rating. And if they deny it, you file an appeal. You're going to keep getting your money. Did you hear what I said? You don't never stop fighting it. As long as you keep appealing it, you should keep getting your money. That's why you strike first. Once you know they say in 3 years they're gonna give you an evaluation. 2 years after you get it. I wouldn't do it right away. Enjoy that money, because they ain't gonna call you in a month. You get your evidence together. That's what you're doing in the meantime. Now look, she got her claim here. Keep your questions coming. Did she win it? We're about to see. Look like she won, or she got a strange way of showing her disappointment, I mean. Now, remember, we're dealing with disability claims here. Now, the important thing I want to say to you, your poppy, I guess that is, you got to request things the right way. For those of you who haven't seen before, you got to ask for what you want. If you're not clear about what you want, how can the VA give it to you? The Bible says you have not because you ask not. Now let's see what's going on here. If you got a PTSD claim, for example, you might be claiming different things. And we talk about this because repetition is what get us to be effective soldiers, and also it'll help us to be effective when we're filing for our claims and disability. So what do we want? You ask, what do I want? So in the case, we're still using the hypothetical Mr. John Brown when we talk about this decision letter today. He wanted permanent total rating of 100% for post-traumatic stress disorder. He was currently, when he filed his claim, he was currently at 70%. All right. And the next rating you can get is 100%. There's no 80 or 90% for PTSD. And that's the same for all mental health ratings. He wanted his dependents to be eligible for dependents educational assistance. Dependents educational assistance, commonly known as Chapter 35. Also, he wanted to have access to CHAP VA healthcare. This is important. Why? Because those number 2 and 3 come at the permanent level. You can't have those 2 unless you have a permanent rating. You hear? That's what we're talking about. You're a poppy. Now, this is another thing I want y'all, those of you have been here, y'all know about this, but those of you just joining us, you need to know this. When you filing your claims, you can do them electronically online. Some people do them by mail. That's the crazy. I would never do nothing by mail, because if a person didn't get it, I've even heard one of the veterans say that held their claim up. They had to show all type of documentation that they had sent it by mail, especially if you're filing a intent to file, which locks in your back pay date. Okay. The most, and if you have breath in your body, do it in person so you can get a stamped copy. So if they lose the paperwork or edit it online, you have an official copy that can't be tampered with, because when they stamp it, you say, you don't have my claim. Well, you stamp copied this. Now let's see what your poppy said. I hope I'm saying that right. How long would they call for a reexamination after the 100% permanent total? Once you get a 100% permanent total, there's no future exam scheduled. They're not supposed to call you in at all. Now, if you're temporary 100%, they usually call you in every 3 years, 3 to 5 years. And you might get to the 3 or 5 years, and they might bump it up another 3 to 5 years. Unless you need the benefits that come at the permanent total level, I needed temporary 100%. You're not going to get the Chapter 35 educational benefits. You're not going to get the Champ VA for your dependents, and I needed that for my daughter. So that's why I had to file for permanent total before she started college. Right now, she's getting that Chapter 35, and she gets that Hazelwood here in Texas that waives her tuition. So she keep that Chapter 35 to pay for her books, to pay for her lodging, and all of that. You understand? I'm a Southern man, so I'm going to use my terminology. I make no apologies. This is who I am. Now, stamp copy. Here's what we're talking about here. Now, when it comes to VA disability compensation letters, and remember, you're not going to get this information anywhere else. I'm going to lay it out in an organized way. You're going to get bits of information, but bits of information I found personally for that to be confusing. Let me see, did I read it? The first one is the one we're talking about today, the VA narrative rating decision. That's the complete name. Then we have the VA notification letter. See, the VA narrative decision letter, the number one, that's the one that tells you whether your claim was approved or denied. The VA notification letter is the letter that it tells what benefits you are entitled to. All right? Compensation-wise and everything. The VA award letter is the letter that you get every year in the mail from the VA. Keep track of that. Make sure it hasn't changed. Make sure they have the proper amount, because that's the letter you take to when you buy a car or you need to verify income. That's the one you want to take. You don't want to take the first two. It has too much of your personal information. Take your VA award letter when you're trying to buy a house or to verify income in that way, because this is money that's not taxed. Now let's continue. Now, decision, remember, that's whether yes or no. That's the thing about a decision letter. Did they approve your claim or was it denied? This is the key thing about a decision letter. Now, generally, that's going to be different. They're going to format them different when they send them to you, but they generally talk about these things right here. It's about 7. Let me see. It's about 7 things, 7 sections to it. They're going to talk about the Veteran Benefits Administration, meaning that's who it's going to be from. That's what we're going to cover today. It's going to be the Veterans Benefits Administration, personal identification, introduction, decision, evidence, reason for decision, and references, meaning the VA law that backs up their decision. But I broke it down into many of these sections so to make it easier for my fellow veterans. Now let us continue. Now you're in the right time. The first one is the Veterans Administration, the Veterans Benefit Administration. That's their official name, Veteran Benefits Administration. We usually call them the VA, but this is the regional office usually. Now, let's go to Mr. Brown's award letter here. Now, with Mr. Brown, the hypothetical Mr. John Brown here. All right, we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about that, then I'm going to answer the questions that's left. It's from the Department of Veteran Affairs. They have it twice because the first one is to tell you who you're getting it from, the Department of Veteran Affairs. It's not from the Board of Veteran Appeals. It's from the Department of Veteran Affairs. And then it gives the address to the regional office. So apparently Mr. Brown, his Department of Veteran Affairs that he went to was, sorry about that. Was 6900 Alameda Street, Alameda Road, Houston, Texas, 77030. Now you need to know these things. You need to keep, let me get ready to answer this question. Give me a second here. Give me a second. I'm gonna get right back to y'all. No, I'm sorry about that. Okay, yeah, somebody, one of my neighbors calling about an, emergency situation with fence or whatever. I guess you can call it. Let's see what your poppy said here. He said, once I get 100%, I heard you can get into the military bases with a special access card. Is that true? And where will I acquire it? Thank you. Okay. Sorry by the way I read that. But here's the thing. Yes, you can get an access card. Go back and watch our video, VA disability compensation from 0 to 100%. We explain that. Watch our video, the 8 benefits for 100% disability rating. You don't have to wait to get access to the base because you can get that at 0% service connection now. All right. So if you are ready, but you will get that special card. The way you get that card from is you got to go to where they give them. And that's on any military base. Almost any military base should have them. If you have a small base around, you can also get it there. Now, let's say shout out to our brother. John is in the house. Salute. H-Town Bread, I made it. I wasn't trying to have y'all conflicted with what's going on political, but I got to get the information out there. So you came right in at the right time. Now, remember, he got this letter from the Department of Veteran Affairs, and you need to know this address because these are the people you need to stay in contact with. These are people you need to contact if something goes wrong. The second part is your personal information. Now, what does this include? Your name, so make sure it's spelled correctly. Your social security number, make sure it's correct, which is your service number. Who represented you, whether it be the DAV, American Legion, or Veteran of Foreign Wars. And this is important. It's going to say what it's about. And this was an appeal that you had. You appealed a prior denial, and that's what it is. It's an appeal that was denied, or you just got a denial. Now, where do we go from here? As long as you submitted it. Now, who's handling Mr. Brown's situation? Who's handling his claim? He has a DRO. Now, we talked about this in our the VA code sheet video and the live stream. A DRO is that stands for senior level. That's a senior level VA employee. That's a decision review officer. Okay. Responsible for VA appeals after a decision has been made unfavorably to veteran. The DRO main role is to review VA decision letter, evidence, and VA law to ensure a proper decision was given. The reason Mr. John Brown chose a DRO because they have more experience, and you have to submit this after you get your denial. You have 60 days to submit this. Watch all our videos. You're going to see all this information. We handling this. So he said, you know what? Instead of waiting around at the Board of Veteran Appeals for 3 to 5 years, let me see, can this DRO approve my claim, because they're more experienced than the people that the rating team that was handling. This tend to be a senior person, and you can require an in-service, I forget what they call it, where in-person interview, where you can give them, you can't give them new information, but you can tell them, explain what's going on with your situation. They can't give them new material evidence on this, I don't believe. Now, here we go. And the key thing you need to know, the person, this is the one time you're going to know that person's name. See, this is the time, because you never notice when somebody's doing your claim, you never know it is. The DRO has to reveal who they are in this one, because this is one person handling your claim. Now, the date also is given in this first section. In this section. All right, the personal information section. Because what? It's the date that you receive your decision letter. It's the date that you receive your notification letter. Now, this is the one they slick with now. They don't like giving you that VA rating code sheet because it has the decision review officer's name on there, and it summarizes your information in a very clear fashion. So you need to make sure you got that too when you got your VA disability packet. I have videos on all three of these, the H-Town Vet does. And we've done live streams on the VA rating code sheet. Now let's see what I wrote. Great information. Thank you, Mr. International. Sound like an international player. Is that what you are, Mr. International? You're an international player? I don't want you to get in trouble if you're married now. Just messing with you. Now, so remember these. These are some thorough videos. Now let's go to the personal information that we just discussed. So it does has his name as we reviewed earlier, Mr. John Brown. We're dealing with the hypothetical Mr. John Brown. We have his VA file number. For later veterans, those like me doing Desert Storm and above, they used our Social Security number. For older veterans, World War II, they had their own file number. I think some Korean, maybe even Vietnam veterans had their own file number. Let me know in the chat if I'm correct. Who represented the American Legion? We did say that. We talks about the decision review officer. It's on the letter on the first page. Also, it has that date we mentioned where he got his what? Notice of this. He got his VA code sheet. He got his decision letter and notification letter. All right. Personal information. And we're going to go follow the highlighted part. Now we're going to the introduction. We're going to go down this letter. He was in the Persian Gulf, personal information. He was Desert Storm. Peacetime also, so it's wartime and peacetime. He was in the U.S. Army, but you might have been in a different branch. He served from 1988 to 1992. Desert Storm happening in the middle. He was denied a claim. That's why he filed his notice of disagreement. Now they call it an appeal. What happened was that he had unemployability. So he filed for what you're talking about, your Poppy, I think you said it. He was temporary 100%, and he filed for permanent total. They told him he couldn't get permanent total because there was likelihood of improvement of his condition. So that's why he filed for permanent total with new and material evidence. You don't just file for permanent total. You need to have solid evidence that's saying that. Now let's see what if I live in California, Would you be able to help me get 100% permanent and total? Just in my case, I only get 100% non-PNT, and a Facebook message you for any future questions. Thank you. You can question me anytime. You can go to the channel, the H-Town Vet channel, and leave your questions. I respond to all of them. I'm trying to come up with a thing where I can, if y'all want to talk to me personally, I have to figure out how to do the private chat. I'm gonna have y'all private chat with me, okay? I'm gonna have to look that up because I'm new to this technology, but I'm gonna do it where you can private chat if you want to talk personally about the information. And the individual that contacted me earlier, we're gonna try to do that over private chat also. And I appreciate you. Until I come, so y'all, I didn't know that I was being this effective. I really thank y'all. The feedback means a lot to me. Now let's go on to the next thing. They denied him because they said it was potential improvement. So he didn't get the permanent total. So in his appeal letter, in his the letter, his decision letter, during the introduction, they talked about his appeal. They say, the record reflects that you are a veteran of the Gulf War era and peacetime. Remember, we went over this information. I showed slides on it. You served in the Army from October the 21st, 1988 to October the 20th, 1992. We received a notice of disagreement, which is an appeal, from you on August the 15th, 2014, about the above one or more of your earlier decisions. Based on our review of the evidence listed below, we have made the following decisions on your claim. Now understand that August, when he submitted it, that's an important date because that's his back pay date, that August 15, 2014. That's where that money going to, unless he filed an intent to file. It'll go back farther than that, unless they go back to when he was in the military. Now let's go on. We talked about the introduction. Let's go on to the next section. The decision. We're just going down this letter, okay? We're going down. The parts in red is the part that we're going to be covering. Now, what we're going to do with your Poppy, what we're doing, I'll do everything that I can to help you. I don't represent people. But I will help you with the information. I'm not, I help you the best I can. I'm not set up like that. Now, at least I'm right now. But that really flatters me that y'all think that I know that. But I just been through this. And I'm going to do everything. But just do me a favor. Like, share, and subscribe. And if I help you out, if, the information help you get your benefits, we got a little cash app, throw a little something on it. Now, let's go on here. So what happened in his case? Mr. Brown, yes or no? Let's see what happened to Mr. John Brown. His claim was approved for permanent and total now, meaning he wanted three things, remember? He wanted permanent total, he wanted CHAMP VA, and he wanted DEA benefits, Chapter 35 for educational benefits. So you got to ask for what you want. You understand? Now let's continue. Now, this is what trips a lot of people. Oh. Give me a second here. I thought it was going. Let me go back. I thought I had stopped it. Now, this is what trips up a lot of people. What trips up a lot of people in the decision part, listen what it says. Basic eligibility, I have trouble saying that word, to dependents educational assistance is established from August the 15th, 2014. Now understand, remember that 2014, August the 15th, 2014, that's when he submitted the claim. So that's going to be his back pay date. That's also going to be the date that is the DEA benefits for his dependents. If they were already going to school, you understand? If they were already going to school, they're going to have to pay them back for the money that they didn't give them back to when it goes back to the what they call the the claim effective date. All right. That's the claim effective date. So they're going to have to pay them back there. Champ VA, if you were paying for healthcare insurance, it got to go back to August the 15th, 2014. They got to reimburse you for some of that too. If you got property taxes, they might, that's at the state level, but we'll talk about that. Now, let's see the other, that was number one. Number two, evaluation of post-traumatic stress disorder with depression, which is currently 70% disabling, is increased to 100% effective August the 15th, 2014. Now, here's the thing I got it. So that's where the back pay fall in. They're going to pay you the difference for being paid for 70% to 100% during that time period that they say you should have been 100%. They ain't going to pay you for the whole 0 to 100%. Now, here's the thing I wanted you to understand. They didn't say that that Mr. Brown was permanent and total, but he is. Why? They alluded to it by saying that that his dependents qualify for the DEA benefits. That's how you verify that somebody is 100%. If you don't have that on your award letter, most likely you don't have it. If you don't have either this or Champ VA, if your dependents qualify for that, you're permanent and total, even if they don't say it straight out. Okay. Now let's see what my brother here is talking about. Bernie, my neighbor had a sleep study at the VA. Should he have someone in the sleep department fill out a DBQ? Now, if that's at the VA, they're going to be reluctant to fill out a DBQ. But if you can get a doctor to do it, yes, they've been, it seems like they got an internal memo against that. But he can go to an outside doctor. But if you're going to do that, you still have to have something showing connection to the military. Okay? You got to give them, you want them to fill out the DBQ just like a CMP doctor fills them out. A CMP doctor, they have a copy of your claim file, which is called your C file. They need that same thing. Now, let y'all know that I'm still here. H-Town Vet is still in the house, letting you know I got love for you. Now, let me get back to the main thing here. Now, yeah, DBQ, that's actually like a CMP exam. So they need to be set up to be able to do that. That needs to be some type of medical doctor specialist or somebody that specializes in that. Now, so that's the first. Now let's get to the evidence section. Evidence. Now, when we're dealing with the evidence section, we're dealing with two things dealing with Mr. John Brown. Now, we got somebody, we're about to talk about the evidence. Let me give a shout out here to Logic. Logic, I just received my Nexus letter this week from my sleep specialist. So for the person asking about sleep apnea, it has to be filled out by a sleep specialist or it won't count. So you see how you have to have a specialist on everything. If it's your back, a back specialist. If you got PTSD, depression, you need a mental health specialist. That's what we've been saying, brother or sister. I don't know your gender. We do apologize. Now let's see so that's why we're here to help each other. So this Nexus letter, get a specialist to fill it out. And because I wasn't for sure about, and you need to show a connection. Now, let's see what he said. I had my personal physician fill out the sleep apnea DBQ. I then had her refer me to the sleep specialist who did the Nexus. Logic, you can't stop coming around. We need you here, Logic. See how we helping each other? Now, somebody can look over this live stream and learn something every time you get on it. Thank you so much, Logic, okay? See, because this is like a veteran support group. That's why we here. Everybody has a voice. Uh-oh, Logic got something else to say. The next step in getting it connected secondary, you will have to use something like obesity as an intermediate step because of another service-connected condition, for example, lumbar strain or plantar. I don't know what plantar is, but because I don't think there's no service connected for obesity, but you can use that as like they say, as a connection. And secondary conditions sometimes play more than primary conditions. So you can have migraines and okay, platters for I can't say it, but that's what he said. Okay. All right, there we go. You could have migraines, for example, as I've said in previous examples. You could have migraines and your migraines cause you to be depressed. You might be 0% for migraines. However, they might give you 70% for the depression, depending on the severity level. That's the trick there. Now, let me read this, then we're going to read your next question. Your next thing. Let me read this here. Now, evidence. So what they used as evidence was VA examination dated July the 18th, 2015. July the 18th, 2015. They also used a supported claim form that he submitted back in March 24, 2015. So meaning that could be an examination. That was the VA examination. That's like a C&P exam or an examination or whatever they calling them now. Compensation and pension examination, of course, through whoever does the examinations now. Now, I want to cover this other evidence before I get to your comment there, your Poppy. There's other evidence that they also considered, not just the evaluation. They also considered, look at the last part of the red, the last, the VA MC Houston, that's mean VA Medical Center, VA Hospital, Houston, Texas, outpatient treatment records from those dates. Make sure they got the proper dates. His was March the 28th, 2011 through October the 2nd, 2015. Make sure they got the right dates. And they had another supported claim. Look at the first one. We're going to cover this one a little later. The VA, the one at the top, the VA form 21-4138, statement and supported claim received September the 3rd, 2015. This is a critical one. He submitted at least 3, but this is the one that helped his claim, okay? That helped him get his disability. So we're going to go over that. Now let's see what since we've covered the evidence portion, this is the last part of the evidence. Make sure that they have all of your evidence listed. And if you don't see all your evidence that you submitted, you need to let them know that y'all did not consider all of the medical record in the claim. And you can file for an appeal based on them they didn't consider the whole medical record. That's an actual law. Now let's see what your Poppy say. I heard there was a chance. I heard there were changes about veterans being able to work once acquiring 100%. The changes were that veterans are able to work full-time job. Is correct, or should it be watch my work hours? Okay, here we go. Whatever some information somebody gives to you, it has to be verified. Watch our video. 100% TDIU. We talk about the 2 types of unemployability. IU, which is individual unemployability, TDIU, which is total disability, individual unemployability. There are work requirements on that, either a sheltered environment or you work under the poverty level. But the VA don't always go about these rules. They've been known to reduce people, and one of the veterans was told, "We don't know what a sheltered environment is." That's what they told Lindell. Now, so if it ain't in writing, don't believe it. Now, reason for decision, we're going down the chart. What was their reason for their decision? They're about to break it down. Now, this is an important part. They're going to be a bit redundant here, but we're going to focus on certain things. The first thing is they were eligible to dependence educational assistance under 38 USC chapter 35. So by being eligible for that, that's this section, that made it where that they are able to be qualified as 100%. Now listen to what they're saying here. So you don't think I'm making it up. Eligibility to dependence education assistance is derived from a veteran who was discharged under, I'm reading small here. So give me a second. I'm gonna have to make this larger because when I'm looking at, y'all be patient with me, okay? Give me a second. I'm gonna look it up on my actual video here. Give me a second. So I'm gonna have to switch back and forth here. And thank y'all. Keep commenting if you have any other questions or whatever. Because it's hard sometimes to read the, let me see where I'm at. Now, here we go. I can read it better, so thank you. So eligibility to dependence educational assistance is derived from a veteran who was discharged under other than dishonorable conditions, meaning you honorable condition or you have general under honorable conditions. Those two should be all right. But dishonorable and bad conduct discharges, you may not qualify. That's why you need to get your discharge upgrade. And right now, they're saying that they helping veterans with that. That's what the veteran, the person over the VA said, what's called the government person. Now, and has a permanent and total service-connected disability, or a permanent and total disability was in existence at the time of death. So if the veteran died, that means that the dependents can qualify for these benefits, or the veteran died as a result of a service-connected disability. So now we're going to stop there because it's talking more about in-service people. So I told you, permanent total. Now let's get to this here. Basic eligibility to dependence education assistance is granted as evidence showing the veteran currently has a total service-connected disability, permanent in nature. Veterans post-traumatic stress disorder is permanent in nature. I told you that they use the DA benefits as a justification for saying that you're permanent. They said right here on the letter. Now let's get back to it. Thank y'all for that patience for me. Let me jump back and forth. We're doing good here. Now, remember what happened to Mr. Brown? He went from 0%. I mean, he went from 70% to 100%. That's the key thing. Post-traumatic stress disorder with depression. Current evaluation is 70% disabled. And it talks about the information of what it is, okay? We're kind of a little further out there. And we're going toward the end here. Now, this is what I want you to understand. Signs and symptoms. Your symptoms or any signs that you have the disability is very important. Why? Because look at what it is here. This is still under the same section. We have assigned 100% evaluation for post-traumatic stress disorder with depression based on this. These are all the symptoms. Some of them at the 30% level, some of them are at the 50% level, and others are at the 70% level, and the other ones at the 100% level. In his particular case, for Mr. John Brown. All right, and they're listed here. And we're going to list them, we'll go over them in a minute. The overall evidentiary record shows, this toward the bottom, that the severity of your disability most closely approximate the criteria for 100% disability evaluation. That's why it's important that you do what? Not only just get a diagnosis of your condition, not only get a nexus or a connection between your military service and your disability, also get that doctor to say how severe it is. That's why they need the DBQ for your condition. If your condition is something that's able to be service connected, they have a DBQ for it. And you need to give that to your doctor along with your claim file or your in-service military records or both, to show they can look over it and say, okay, this is a connection to what happened here. Oh, you were in a wreck in the military and it injured your leg and you still have problems with your leg? That's connected to your service. Now look what they say at the bottom, the last part of red. This is the highest scheduler rating allowed under the law for post-traumatic stress disorder. So he asked for the highest rating and he got it. Now I want you to understand this here, and we're going to get to y'all chats. You got to understand something. Some conditions don't have 100% rating. I think vision problems, I think the highest is maybe 90%. So don't ask for 100% for vision and they don't offer 100% for vision. Ask for the highest rating for that condition. You can ask for a higher combined rating for all your conditions. When it comes to PTSD, if Mr. Brown would have asked for 90%, they don't have a 90%. They'll deny it. So make sure that they offer that benefit. Now let's see what our people saying here. Oh yeah, I've been asking some questions here. Let's see what your poppy say. How does your wife or children acquire those benefits once he served member dies, service member dies? Does he have to do it before he dies or it's automatic? No, but he say thank you. No, it's not automatic. That's called DEI benefits. Death indemnity benefits, meaning they have to file for them once they get your death certificate, and the VA is going to assess whether they qualify for it. And if they show that you were 100% or you died of a 100% service-connected disability, there are different ways. Or if you've been 100% for 10 years, follow me now. If you've been 100% for 10 years, it don't matter what you die of, they can get it, but they must apply. Okay? Watch our video, Dependent Status. It talks about this. We cover all these things. That's why the H-Town vet breaks it down. It's hard for me to say words because I got earphones on, so I can't hear myself talking, so the words come out kind of crazy sometimes. I apologize. Now, how does a service member family acquire? Okay, we just read that one. Okay, after a veteran dies, the surviving spouse and children and parents may qualify for the following VA benefits. Help for burial costs, that's right. You probably get that $2,000 stipend, compensation and pension, healthcare, life insurance, yes. So if you have, especially if you have disabled veteran life insurance, which is called VA Life, the old one is SDVI. Yes. Yandale's gonna break it all down for you. She's our research person, all right? And we thank God for her. Or whoever you serve, Allah, all of them. Now here we go. Here's the information where you find out more about that. And let me tell you, they can qualify for aid and attendance. The dependents can too. And if the veteran passed, they also can still get the Chapter 35. And if some state benefits, they can also, if you got a property tax exemption, check with your state. The spouse here in Texas, I know, that they qualify and they can get the property tax exemption as long as they don't remarry. Now, here we go. Also look at family and caregiver benefits. Yandale is on top of it. And y'all thought, look, we are the experts. The only experts are the people that live it every day. That's why when people deal with that, they have drug addictions, the counselors usually have to be people who have been addicted to drugs because they experienced it. I was surprised to learn that. Now let's go on. Now here we go. Now I'm about to break this down to y'all. Go watch our video, the formula for winning VA claims, that goes into more detail about this, okay? So I want you to look over these forms. This is the supported claim. Remember that he submitted on 9/3/2015. I told you to pay attention to. This is what helped win his claim. This got it there. Now, why doing that? Let's see what Yandel, y'all read this, and I'm going to pull it up on the other screen so I can read it properly, okay? Now, here we go. So now here's the form I'm going to read for, let's see. All right, here we go. Now, this is whenever you're dealing with VA claims, you need to have, if it's an evidence-based claim, meaning if it's based on the evidence, you also have presumptive claims that's not based on evidence. It's presumed that you got a condition if you was in that certain area. But we're dealing with an evidence-based claim. Evidence-based claims are based on VA law and evidence that's supported by VA law. So in Mr. Brown's case, he filed for 100% permanent total. He was IU, he was individual unemployability, which is a temporary 100% rating. And look at, I have it in red, the three things. First, he dealt with what made his condition static or permanent. Follow. Static by showing no change or progress, meaning it just stayed the same, his condition, and persisted for at least 5 years. That's number two, without material improvement. The third thing, permanent and not expected to improve. We go in more detail on this letter in our video, the formula for winning VA claims, disability claim. So you can watch it in detail. We're just overviewing. That deals with the static part. The static part deals with the P in P&T. It deals with the permanent part. If your condition is not likely to improve, that's the third. Permanent, not likely to improve. Number three, that's what makes it the P part that makes it permanent. It don't mean that they'll never call you in for an evaluation. That means there are no scheduled exams. Is that all right? Now let's see what we got here. We're going to read a few questions. Yandel got some. Let me see. Yandel said, what did our sister say here? Let me get full screen again. VA life insurance can offer financial security for veterans, service members, and their spouses and dependent children. Explore your options, manage your policy, and file claims to get your life insurance, to get insurance benefits you've earned. That's right. Now let's see what else Yandel said. He said, I have an informal conference for high level review Monday for 5 items. Now you need to make sure evidence that they go over everything. Make sure you got all your evidence there. If you got some new and material evidence, submit it there too. At that informal conference, that's what it's called. Now let's go here. Oh, that I ain't mean do that. Oh boy. Let's see. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Now, not only is that, now here's the total part. The static part means you're not moving. That's where the P comes from in permanent and total. Now we're dealing with the total part, the T. We're dealing with the total. That just means you're paid at the 100% level. That deals with your severity. Okay? The total meaning your severity level is at the top. All right. Now, what happened to Mr. John Brown? Now, we're going to kind of read this one. So here's the law. So this number 4, remember we went over the first 3 that dealt with the permanent aspect of it. And we had evidence from his medical records that support that. Now we go into the total aspect. To get 100% rating, meaning totally disabled, at least one symptom reflects 100% rating. So this is the symptoms at 100% rate. And it's going to be on the DBQ. Okay, we're going to go over that in the future. The DBQ, we're going to break one down for Mr. John Brown. Now, to get 100% for post-traumatic stress disorder or any mental health disorder for that fact, did you know that? For any mental health disorder for that fact, you have to have some of these symptoms. Now, let's see. We're going to go over them here. Let's see what our sister's saying. I have my DBQs. Everything was not taken into account or not rated. This is what you have to do. You see that first page, Yandale? We're not going over that tonight, where it says reexaminations on the first page, CFR 3.327, reexaminations. Look at that when we get off the screen. Remember, they have to consider the whole medical record. And if they don't consider the whole medical record, you can file an appeal on that. Now, let's go back to this here. We're dealing with what symptoms are at the 100% rate. If you got a condition, find out the symptoms at 100% rate. Now for PTSD, here are the symptoms. Total occupation, social impairment due to such symptoms as gross impairment in thought process or communication, persistent delusions or hallucination, gross inappropriate behavior, persistent dangers of hurting self or others, intermediate inability to perform activities of daily living, including maintenance of minimal self-hygiene, disorientation to time or place. This is for PTSD now. To get paid, you have to have at least one of these symptoms. Memory loss for names of close relatives, own occupation, or own name. To get 100%, you got to be down bad. You know, yeah, I fall in here, but I ain't telling you what. I'm down bad, but I'm still trying to help others, Now, he had 2 of them, according to the doctor on his DBQ. This is what the doctor put down. Gross impairment of thought process or communication. You see it's highlighted in dark blue up above. Persistent delusions or hallucinations. Now, at the end, let's see what we're going to read the last part, and we're going to go on to the last part here. Now, what we are requesting, permanent total disability rating of 100% for post-traumatic stress disorder. Remember earlier, say ask what you want to include no periodic examination to be scheduled. Then he asked for dependents educational assistance and CHAMP healthcare program. This helped him get his 100%. That's why the decision letter referred back to this supported claim statement dated what? September the 3rd, 2015. They say this is a full grant of what you asked for. Now let's see what my sister's saying here. Insurance, okay, VA Life, okay, informal conference. She say, I have my DBQs, everything was not taken account. Okay, we went over that. Now, you need to note that it wasn't taken into account, and you need to back that up with VA law and use that law to the right. Now we're going to continue on here. Thank y'all for your patience. Now, my only concern about the VA doctor is, for example, if they feel that they are improving on, that you are improving on your PTSD, can they reevaluate you after you have 100% permanent total? Don't worry about that. The doctor is there to give you treatment. The doctor is not there to evaluate you. You need to continue to seek treatment. Those people that tell you don't, tell them, you treat your VA doctor or any doctor that's treating you for your condition, whatever it is, especially PTSD, since we're talking about it. Your job is to tell them what's wrong, like a mechanic. You don't go to a mechanic telling them everything right in your life. Tell them if you need adjustments on your medication because the medicines are not working. If the medicines are not working and they still try to help you, don't sit there and lie to them. Tell them the truth. Tell them it's not working, but I'm doing my best to try to deal with it, but it's not working. Tell them what's wrong. You don't go to a mechanic and tell them what's right, even if you know you're not okay. If you're not okay, tell them. If you need to put it, now here we go, document it in My Healthy Vet. Send a message to your doctor. So guess what? They can't say you didn't tell them. Put it in My Healthy Vet. Send a message to them in writing that you have a copy of. Doctor, I told you this on this date. Remember somebody said earlier, the doctor said, oh, you got access to these notes? They don't know that all the time. Now let us continue. I really appreciate y'all being there. I didn't mean to do this when they was having a little debate, but I appreciate y'all being here. So remember the importance of the supported claim document. And you can submit this, and this is a summary of your evidence and the law that backs it up. Use this format. This is a template that I've designed here at the H-Town Vet for you can successfully win your claim. They don't have to go 100 places looking for it. You do this here, and you put a copy of the medical record that you're quoting. Now, let us continue. Now, just as we said earlier, when it comes to PTSD ratings, there are only 6 ratings, okay? There's 0%, 10%, 30%, 50%, 70%, and 100%. All right? They're talking about doing away with the 0% rating. They haven't done that with these new proposals. They're talking about doing away with the 100% rating. Now, let's continue. Let's deal with the when we just went over it. Now we're going to deal with the symptoms at a 0% rating. So you're going to use this as an example for whatever your condition is. There's only 6 ratings for PTSD. Yours might have 10. All right, depending on what your condition is. Find out what the rating schedule is for your condition. We just gave you the rating schedule for PTSD. We gave you the one at the 100% level. Now we're going to go through every percentage. 0, right? We're going to go through all of them starting at 0%. Yes, that is a service-connected rating. When I got a 0%, I thought I was denied when I got a 0% for post-traumatic stress disorder. Now let's see what that is. Now the ones that's marked in dark ink, that's the ones that Mr. Brown has for his condition. All right? Now, at a 0%, you don't get paid no money. You don't get paid anything. However, you are service connected, you can get treatment. Watch our videos about this, about the benefits, the advantages of a 0% rating. You get more benefits at a 0% rating, even though you don't get any money. Now, what is a 0% rating for PTSD? A mental health condition has been formally diagnosed, but symptoms are not severe enough to interfere with occupational or social functioning or to require continuous medication. So if your condition does not affect your job or your home life in a significant way, you're service connected. They say you got it. You got the Nexus, but it's not severe enough to pay you for it. Okay? Tell me if that's making sense. Now, that's the 0%. As you see, there's nothing highlighted in blue as far as, so Mr. Brown don't have any of these. Now, let's go to the 10% for post-traumatic stress. What are the symptoms at a 10% level? Well, now you're getting continuous medication. That's why you need, if you have problems sleeping because of your PTSD, let's say, for example, tell your doctor, once you start taking continuous medication, you qualify for a 10% rating for post-traumatic stress disorder. Occupational, I'm going to read it. the description of it. Occupational and social impairment due to mild or transient, meaning they come and go, mild or transient symptoms, which decrease work efficiency and ability to perform occupational tasks only during periods of significant stress or symptoms controlled by continuous medication. So if it can be controlled by medication, or your condition only flares up on certain times, that's what makes you qualify for a 10% rating. I told you, you come here, we're going to give it all to you. We're going to let you know it. And they pay $100 for a 10% rating right now at the time of this live stream, $171.23. Now let's talk about a 30% symptoms. We're going to talk about the symptoms for 30%. Now, Mr. Brown has some of those. Okay, one of the big things, you have trouble sleeping. So you might be taking medicine for sleeping. Occupational and social impairment with occasional decrease in work efficiency and intermittent periods of inability to perform occupational tasks, although generally functioning satisfactorily with routine behavior. Self-care and conversation is normal due to substance as. Now, here we go. This is what Mr. Brown had. Remember that list that they showed in his decision letter? Depressed mood. Mr. Brown had anxiety, suspiciousness. He think people out to getting him. He checking the doors. He checking outside. He think people following him, different things like that. Panic attacks, weekly or less. He didn't have that, but he did have chronic sleep impairment. How did they know it? Because he was on strong sleeping medication. So only things in blue that he had. Mild memory loss, such as forgetting names, direction, and recent events. Remember what your condition is and find out what the rating schedule is for your condition. So you'll know every time they deny you, they got to tell you what you need to, what symptoms you need to get to the next percentage rating. Yes, they supposed to tell you that in the denial letter. So they give you the cheat code in your decision letter. And they pay $500 something for that. Now let's go to 50%. What is the symptoms at 50%? Remember, they skip ratings when it comes to mental health ratings. Okay, here we go. One, they pay $1,075.16. Occupation and social impairment with reduced reliability and productivity due to such symptoms as flat affect, meaning you're just like, you don't have no kind of real emotional thing. Circumstantial or circulatory or stereotype speech. Now, he did have panic attacks more than once a week. The doctor noted this on the DBQ. All this stuff is on the DBQ. And the doctor noted that. Difficulty in understanding complex commands. He don't have that. Impairment of short and long-term memory, retention of only high learned material, forgetting to complete tasks. The doctor noted that on the DBQ also. Impaired judgment, these are some of the other ones that wasn't on the DBQ. Impaired abstract thinking, he didn't have those problems, or at least it wasn't noted on the DBQ. Disturbances of mood and motivation and mood. Now, if you have some of these, but the doctor overlooked it, you need to complain about that. You need to write a letter. Hey, I did tell them I had problems with this, and that doctor didn't note it in their report. Now, he did have this. This is very important. Difficulty in establishing and maintaining effective work and social relationships. This is at the 50% level. Let us continue. Now, 70%. Now, when you get over to 70%, anybody, my personal belief, anybody got a 70% rating for PTSD, you shouldn't be working, or you need to be applying for unemployability. And at that point, you do qualify. Now, 70%. What are the symptoms? Okay, now we got people scrapping. You putting hands on folks. You can't. Somebody make you mad. You might fight with co-workers, family members, or something like that. God forbid. So here's the description of the symptoms at the 70% rating that the doctor is looking for in the CMP exam and writing on the DBQ. This is going to be the kind of the checklist that the doctor is going to go by. Does they have occupational and social impairment with deficiency in most areas, such as work, school, family relationships, judgment, thinking, or mood? Well, it's highlighted in blue. So Mr. John Brown had problems with that due to such symptoms as suicidal ideation. Okay, so mean you think about harming yourself. Now, Mr. Brown had that. Obsessional rituals which interfere with the routine activities, meaning checking doors, checking, going outside, checking the perimeter. You keep doing things, like obsessive compulsive disorder kind of things. He had that. Speech intermediate, illogical, obscure, or irrelevant. Start talking about stuff that's not even related to the conversation at hand. He has that also. Nearly continuous panic attacks or depression affecting the ability to function independently, appropriately, and effectively. The doctor didn't note that. Impaired impulse control, such as unprovoked irritability with periods of violence. Yeah, the doctor say he had them violent problems. Now, we're going to get to your comment in a minute. Spatial disorientation. He didn't have that. Neglect of personal appearance of hygiene. The doctor didn't note that. You don't have to have all of them. Difficulty in adapting in stressful circumstances, including work or work-like settings. Inability to establish and maintain effective relationship. That's his problem. So, okay, he had some of these symptoms. These, if you try to get a 70% rating, these are the symptoms that you have to, they'd have to see signs of or have to show. Now, let's see. We're going to get to the 100% symptoms in a minute here. Okay, your Poppy said 90% right now. If I get hurt and go to a non-VA Mercy hospital, that the VA will cover all your expenses as long as I give them a 72-hour notice over the phone. Okay. Yeah, you need to let them know. So if you go to these, they got certain ones, you need to contact the VA immediately. Show the people, if you got your medical card, show the ambulance that also. And if you need to notify your family if you're incapacitated, before you get incapacitated, where you can't say nothing, tell them to take your ID, contact the VA and let them know. But even if you're not able to do it, you need to let the VA know that you were in an emergency room and you can still fight that. Okay? Because if you're unconscious, ain't no way you can contact nobody. Now let's talk about going to that 100% rating. Now this is the hardest one to get for post-traumatic stress disorder. Mr. Brown got it, but the symptoms, we talked about them a little bit. Here we go. We're not going to go back over them, but it's such things as, let's talk about the ones that Mr. Brown had. He had gross impairment of thought process or communication, meaning his thought process was all messed up, and persistent delusions. Delusions are things that you believe. You believe that somebody out to get you, your coworkers, or giving you too much eye contact. And you think they're sending messages through their eyes. Hallucinations. You see things. You see, things floating in the air, and you see people that you fought in the war that's past, but you think they're still alive. We covered all the other ones in this description. Now, the 100% rating, remember, that's the total rating. What make it permanent is when it's static. The severity level deals with the total rating, and his severity is the most severe at the 100% rate. And they pay the top money. Right now it's $3,737.85 at the time of this video. Now let's see how Yin Dale, we thank you for saying something, yo Poppy. Look how Yin Dale coming in with it. Getting emergency care at non-VA facilities. Here's the website. Please go to the link. And we don't mind if it's VA links, you can put them on here. Anything outside the VA, we want to be careful with. You can just give us the name of the where to go find it that they can put in a search engine. But VA links is okay. Now, there you go. Thank you, Ian Dale. You always coming through for us. That's why we here to help each other. Now, let's see what's next here. References, the last part. We're almost done here. Now, the main guideline for the VA regional office is the VA regional office, the manual, the Veterans Benefit Manual. Okay, this is what they're supposed to use, and they don't always do it. This is what you can, hey, y'all supposed to do this and that. This has some of the laws in there. Remember, being a disabled veteran is a legal status. Remember that. That's why you go into court to fight for the legal status. You get me? The VA is acting as a judge when they approve it, but if they don't approve it and you go to Board of Veteran Appeals, that they don't want it. That's a law. That's a legal status that they're giving you if you approve. Now, that's one manual that you need to be familiar with. Also, and here's the last section, the reference. They reference everything that they use to make their decision, and even the VA, www.va.gov. Remember, Google is your friend. You can find, the book is very expensive, these books. I have a copy of two of them, both of them. But every year they're updated. You can get a CD-ROM of it, but Google is your friend. You can look this stuff up through Google. Let me make sure I'm going to show this here again, just in case I didn't. Where Ian Dale saying, get emergency care at non-VA facilities. I needed this, Ian Dale. Thank you so much. And y'all are really impressing me how many people are watching the live stream while they're having a presidential debate. Thank you so much. Making me feel important. But we're trying to put that information out. I wasn't trying to conflict, but this was the night. I'm going to try to do the live streams on Thursday nights and Thursday nights and Sunday nights. Yendale said, you're welcome. You just keep up the good work. We mean this from our heart. You understand what I'm saying? Thank you. Now, that's the reference. This is the law book that they reference here. This brown tan book, this is where they have case studies. All right, where they change VA law when stuff happened. It's going to be in this. This is the actual law book. But the other book that had blue in it, that's like a guideline. But they based all their decisions based on this VA law right here. And this is the book that you can use to beat the VA. Now let us continue. So that's the end of the document. I want to thank you for joining this live stream. We're going to do a little bit of what we call the after party. But those of you that want to go, you may want to watch the debate, the presidential debate, you can. But we've done that. But we're going to, I want to give thanks to all of you for joining us. And also here at the H-Town Vet live stream, I want to give a special thanks to Military Mike. Thank you for, giving us something on the Cash App. We appreciate that. I want to give a special thanks to you. Now, here we go. Now the after party. What's the after party? We want anything y'all want to put out there, let us know. It don't have to be long if you have to go, but anything that y'all want to talk about. I can't believe we got that done in 2 hours. That's amazing. That was like 86 slides. That was a lot of slides. Now, let me ask you this question. Do you think if you meet someone, I want to ask y'all this. If you meet someone and y'all dating, or if you're married, do you think what does full disclosure look like to you? Should you tell them about your military benefits, or is it your right to keep your VA benefits private from the person you're dating or married to? Tell me y'all opinion. Give us, if you think that a person should be able to keep the information private, give us a Y in the chat. If you think that you should disclose that to someone that you're married or in a serious relationship with, no. So, if you feel like you should keep it private, say keep it private, yes. If not, put it in no, let them know. Let us know in the chat. And if y'all got any questions, now we've went over the information. We've talked about the letter. Let us know anything, any comments, any other things that y'all want to talk about dealing with veteran benefits in particular. If not, we're going to, I want to say thank you for joining us. When I say that, look, thank you. Everybody give a shout out to Yin Dale, because when she's in the chat, her and D-Law, I know he's probably doing something else, but her and D-Law, and now we got your Poppy, we got Amp. Thank you, Amp for Miami, Military Mike. Thank you to Elijah Johnson. Thank you for Kevin. Thank all of you for joining us. And any other last statements, go ahead and put them in the chat, because the chat will come back. Okay, let's see what it say here. Yin Dale said, my opinion is, talking to your Poppy, my opinion is you should go to your mental health doctor at least once every 3 months. That's right on time. Please do that at least every 3 months. They talk about twice a year. Don't you do no twice a year, because the VA will check to see if you're doing continuous treatment. You know how I know? I saw it when I got my permanent total. They said that he is seeking continuous treatment. You are seeking continuous treatment. That's one of the reasons they gave me permanent total. So people that say that you have to go, well, that ain't what the VA told me. Let's go on and see what she said. If you have outside insurance, go to a civilian doctor and download the notes to My Healthy Vet. That's right. That's right. Now we got, let's see, Yin Dale. Yin Dale, even if you have 100% permanent total, yes. Yes, tell him, Yin Dale, if you're 100% permanent total, that doesn't mean that they can never call you in for a reevaluation. That means you have no future exam scheduled. But remember, they were calling people in for evaluations even when they were unwarranted. Go watch our video, unwarranted reexaminations. Let's see what Yin Dale say. She say yes. Okay, so political say, okay, now, I'm listening to political. Here we go. Now we're gonna talk down. Now we're gonna remember, it's not actually can't be taken away unless you've been paid at 100% rate for 20 years straight without reduction. That could be, it don't matter what, you had 2-3 different times 100%. You could have had individual unemployability for the first 5 years, and you got permanent total for the next 15. Because you paid at the 100% rate, you considered, that's the 20-year rule, but it can't be any fraud involved. Now let's talk to PA Political Revolutionary Podcast. Now, let me ask you about this, but he say, tell your wife. I'm assuming, I don't know if you're a man or a woman, but okay. Now, here's my thing. I told my ex and it became a problem. I don't know. It could work. But I thought, because my partner told me, my friend told me, don't tell her. Because I was already getting paid, taking care of business. When I told her, it became chaos. And it's what kind of led to our divorce, because one of the issues, because she said that you're going to be getting that for the rest of your life. And I'm not going to get nothing like that. Well, like I say, I guess you have to pick the right people. Now, here we go. Let's see what he says here. Yeah, there. For the next 20 years, when your percentage is protected. So, yeah, your percentage is protected. Whatever percentage you have for 20 years, let's say you had 30% for 20 years, it's protected. Let's say during that time, whatever you have a 50% rating, starting at the date you get it 20 years later, it's protected, as long as there's no reduction in the meanwhile. So your poppy say, tell, okay, when I'm out here dating, I ain't telling nobody nothing. I'm telling them I'm retired. They can tell by how I'm living whether they want to be. I don't need them all. Let me get up on the camera again. We're going to talk about this, because everybody got their opinion, but we're going to talk about this. Let's do this here. Let me see where the H-Town vet at. Y'all know I ain't good at this stuff. Here we go, the after party. Now let's see what your poppy say. Only once after you're married and you know your wife through the good and bad time. See, let me tell you something. You better get to know people. You got to see what they're all about, because money will change people. I was with them over a decade and a half. Once I sat down and I didn't have to work no more, they had a problem. You understand? Some people feel if they're working, that you got to work too. What y'all think about that? If your spouse get to stay at home because they retired, do you think you have a right to say, hey, if I'm working, you got to work too? Because a lot of people think like that, even though they won't admit it. Now, let's see what he say. After 20 years, only reduced for fraud. Remember that. Who's ever watching this live stream, live or recorded, you better know that. There was a man, I forget his name, he was doing the most. He had a certain percentage for over 20 years. I don't think he was paid at the 100% for 20 years, but he lost all his benefits and he had to pay the VA back $6 million or more. It was a lot of money because he committed fraud. He was saying he can't walk and he was doing Ironman challenges and all that. Now, hey, brother, can you send me your email so I can contact you personally? Look, the email, next time I'm going to have it in on the chat. Contact me on my the H-Town Vet channel. And what I'll do, I'm going to put it up there in the chat. I'm going to try to start putting it on this chat. It's the H-Town Vet. It's going to be H-Town Vet Northside. But I'm going to send that to you, okay? But you got to contact me there. Let's see what. Okay, he let me know he a man. Okay. He say, but tell your woman. Tell your wife or husband. What about you, Yandel? What you say? Yandel say, do you also have an email? Yeah, man, I wish I could pull it up. Give me a second. I'm going to put that email in the chat. Is that all right? Let me try to copy and paste that email. So keep answering the question. Let's see what he's saying here. Y'all read the question. Keep answering. What was a batting move? You had the wrong one. Damn. But you never know. They like time release capsules, man. Some I'm only referring to women because that's all I ever dated. Some women will go up with you, but they won't go back down with you. Once they've gotten the house, the cars and everything, they like, I'm here now. Let's start tearing everything up. So you got to check people. You got to vet people. Don't look at any relationship as a bad relationship. Whatever you learn from that relationship. But you need to check people. Remember, men and women are human just like us. They lie, they cheat, they hurt, they everything else. Don't be treating them like some princess. Happy wife, happy life. Yell until you get to divorce court. Huh? So that's why I believe in prenups. What y'all think about prenups? What y'all think about prenups? Do you think this be a prenuptial agreement that you don't touch my VA benefits, you don't touch my retirement? I'm getting messy up in here. They don't, okay, they don't have to work. Okay. So let me ask you this here. If you don't have to work, do that mean that they get to sit down and they don't have to work? Or do they need to pull their own part? I don't want no woman sitting up all day with me. Hey, hating more. I hear you. Let's see. Now look what he say, worst case scenario. Y'all read that. And I'm a pull up my email. Let me get my email. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Be patient with me here. I'm gonna pull this email up. All right. I'm getting it. I keep it going. We'll say worst case, a worst scenario. Let's just say you have 100% permanent total, and for some reason they call you in and they reduce you to 90%. Do you just resubmit a claim to try to get it again, or should you wait to resubmit? No, you need to put your rebuttal in. If they propose to reduce you, you fight that proposal. You get an outside doctor that shows that you get information from your VA doctor that shows you have symptoms at the 100% level. So you don't wait for nobody. You always working on the next step. You should already have your information together while you're permanent total right now. You need to get your evidence together right now, just in case they ever try to do that, where you don't have to worry about this. You understand? Now, let me pull up this email. Now, you always working on the next step. You don't sit, so like you have a claim pending with the VA. You already working on your appeal while you waiting on the claim. You always one step ahead dealing with the VA. What the next thing they can do? Oh, I got my 100% permanent total. They can reduce me. Well, you need to get evidence and keep getting evidence from your doctor. As, hey, doc, do you think my condition is likely to improve? Every once in a while, have your doctor tell you. Don't and have that evidence in your chart. And then when they call, say, oh, I got my doctor said 6 months ago or 8 months ago that my condition is not likely to improve, even though you're already permanent total. Don't say that to your VA doctor. Say that to your outside doctor, because that doctor at the VA might say it's improving, and that can be used against you. You feel me? Do it to a doctor that the VA don't have access to. Now, let me see what my, let me go to my information here. I'm getting that email for y'all. No, man. Okay, let me see what I got here. Okay, I'm looking for that, and I'm gonna get to any other questions that y'all have. Okay, I'm copying and pasting. I'm gonna copy and paste it. My what you call them in the chat here. Look up VA proposal to reduce. That's important, Yandel said. And also, like I say, already have your stuff together. Continually seek treatment. Don't worry. Just continue to seek treatment, because they're not going to schedule you for no exam. Most 9 times out of 10, they not, but it's possible. Now, here go my email address. HTownVet Northside at gmail.com. Is that all right? So for those who are watching live or recorded, this is the H-Town email address. Contact me and we'll converse back and forth. I don't have a separate telephone line yet. If I get one, we'll take care of it. You say a lot of lawyer sites have what? Let us know, Yandel. Okay. Proposals to reduce. Okay, yeah. Look at that. Yes, that's supposed. So there you go right there if y'all need that. Now, let me ask you this here. Would there be any situations that you have 100% and you had a Chapter 35 benefits and you had a stepchild? Would you put them on your benefits even if you and the ex are no longer together? I'm talking about the Chapter 35 educational benefits, DA educational benefits that's paid at the 100% level. Because I'm about to tell you a little thing about that. You understand? Tell me what would you, because if you watch our video on dependent status, you're going to learn a lot. When it comes to your biological child, they can go to school and let's say they quit. It ain't on you, it's on them. Now I want y'all to follow me on this, but if it's your stepchild, if they're not living with you a certain amount of time, if you're divorced from the parent, the VA will try to get you to pay that money back. I've seen it happen. So you got to be real careful and make sure you let them know that they're living with you at least half the time or more. Y'all didn't know that, did you? But the biological child don't have to be living with you. They can be out on their own or whatever. Now here go Yandel putting that knowledge out there. Let me know if y'all got the the email address. Let me know if y'all got it. Now, Yandel says, let me make this larger so I can see it. This the after party, everybody. I am the H-Town vet. We went over the main information. So if you move forward, if you want to watch the complete video about the information that we covered, go back to the beginning of the video. But right now, this is the after party where we just freestyling. The VA notifies the veteran to intake a rating reduction. VA's first step is to send a notice to the veteran that VA has proposed to reduce their rating. This is true. This notice is not a rating decision. Now let's see what else she's saying. You can appeal a proposed reduction. You cannot appeal a proposed reduction using a notice of disagreement or not, as you would a rating decision. This proposal to be reduced, you cannot appeal it the same way. I know this to be a fact. A veteran partner of mine, he had, what do you call it? He had prostate cancer. And they sent him, when he had the prostate surgery, he paid at 100% rate. They had a notice, a proposal to reduce. Once they reduced him down to 80%, we filed for a permanent total, and he got permanent total. It took a few months, but he got it back. Cannot appeal. Okay, that's right. Let's see what she's saying here. You cannot appeal a decision. The veteran decides on a hearing or not. If a veteran does not agree with the proposed reduction, they have 30 days to request a hearing. You hear that? 30 days. Remember, there's a time limit. Although this step is not necessary to fight reduction, if you do not request a hearing, VA cannot. That's true. If you request a hearing, the VA cannot reduce your rating until it is held. This is a way to keep your money coming in. Ask for a hearing. They can't reduce you and they don't like doing hearings sometimes. Because in that hearing, you're going to be explaining why you feel it's not justified to take your disability rate, and you need to show evidence that they should already have. Requesting a hearing can provide the veteran with additional time to submit new evidence to fight the proposed reduction. Whether you request a hearing or not, a veteran has 60 days to submit new, I know what she say, new evidence. Now listen to what she said. I got to go back to that first part. That's why you need to be getting these outside doctors. So if they send you a proposed reduction, you need to get an independent medical examination. Let me go back to what I'm talking about. Some of you that wasn't here in the beginning. Now, like I said, this is earlier. Tonight we talked about the VA decision letter, of course, and we talked about how here at the H-Town Vet, we connect information together. This is kind of overview of the beginning. This is the central place. Why? Because we got people like Yandel here. Huh? Look what she say here. VA issues a decision in order for the VA to issue a decision reducing a veteran's rating. It must prove through medical evidence that there has been an actual change in the veteran's disabling condition. Understand what you're talking about. That's why this is the CPU, huh? Central Processing Unit. You understand? Here at the H-Town Vet, this is just a place where all of the powerful veterans come, those that need to know and those that have the information. We just got the place where we can meet up at. You understand? I'm knowledgeable when it comes to veteran benefits, but I'm not an expert on all things. I'm real knowledgeable when it comes to post-traumatic stress disorder, but listen to what Yandel said. All what she said is right. You understand? So disabling condition, I'm going to read it continuously because it goes on. Change in a veteran's disabling condition. They got to show medical evidence. Okay. Since they was last rated. In addition, there must have been improvement in the veteran's condition using the evidence provided throughout the course of the entire medical history. Remember what I said that you saw in that supported claim? We didn't go over it, but re-examinations. Look up that law. Google is your friend. They must consider the whole medical record that is in the law. Yandel is pretty brilliant when it comes to veteran benefits. Now, hold on. Did I miss somebody? Okay. Can a service member parent receive any type of benefits once I receive 100%? That's what Yandel was saying earlier. That yes, if they're your dependent. Now understand how this works. If they are your dependent, meaning you have them on your benefits, but when it comes to parents, it's an income requirement. That's why you need to watch our video, dependent status. Now, here's the trick about that. If you're not taking care of them parents, they can file for an apportionment like a spouse can for children. It's like a child support thing. If they say you're not supported, they can get a part of your check. But don't put them on there unless you plan on providing for them. You understand? But they can't make, I don't know what the amount is. If you know Yandel, let us know. They can't make over $1,000 or so much. And you have to be, you have to be taken care of, which I don't think it's a requirement that they live with you. I don't know that for sure. You just have to be providing for them financially a certain percentage of their care. Now let's see what Yandel says. 100% ratings may be reduced if VA can show that your condition has shown material improvement. What's material improvement? Meaning that you're off your medications. They reduce the number of medicines you take. You're not on strong medication. You're working, even though you're 100% permanent total. They can't use your job if you're working. You're supposed to be able to work. They can say, oh, he can do this, she can do that. or you doing volunteer work. Material improvement means, I'm going back to Yandell, material improvement means that there has been a significant change in the veteran's ability to function in daily life. Now, if you said something to your doctor that, before you couldn't go outside all the time, and now you out there going to the club and you telling your doctor about all that, that can and will be used against you if the VA pull your records. Yandell, can't the VA just monitor your VA hospital medical records and see if any improvement has happened? Usually without you having a claim open. If you know, let us know in the chat. Now, Yandell, this is from your poppy. He said, Yandell, you mentioned that they could reduce you if your symptoms have improved, but is that only for 100%, or does that also apply to PNT? Now, if you're 100% PNT, if you lose your 100%, I think there are some people that have been permanent total at 70%. Rare, but usually they're going after the 100% ratings. All right. Now, if you have TDIU, you're not 100%, but you're paid at 100% rated, and you consider permanent total. You could be 60%, 70%, 80%, or 90%, but you're paid at the 100% rating. It's pretty much the same thing as 100% permanent and total. Now, I've heard somebody say it today. I'm not for sure. Let me know in the chat. That some people say that one guy said he was 70% permanent total, but it really is significant once you get 100%. I haven't seen nobody 70% permanent total. That's just what somebody told me. Now, the whole thing that you're trying to do here is when you claim, there's going to be different routes. You might use a decision review officer, right? You might use a service officer, the American Legion. You might work the claim on your own. Now, let's see what Yandell say to you. Yandell says, you can look through the blue book. Remember, tell them about you can look through the blue button. That's some type of blue button. Tell us what that is again. You can look through the blue button to see if you are ordering medications. Oh, meaning she said they, okay, you didn't put the Y on there. They can look through the blue book to see if you are ordering medications or going to your doctor, unless you are seeing a civilian doctor. When I do that, I go to blue button, and send it to my VA doctor. So if you have medical records from outside doctors where you're getting treatment for your service-connected disability, submit those records. Make sure those records back up your disability. If the doctor say you're getting better, don't submit those. Go to another doctor. Go over whatever you submit, and don't give them total access to your civilian records. Okay, I know a Vietnam veteran that injured his back in Vietnam, but he was in a car wreck that injured his back. So he submitted all his records from his private doctor when he was a truck driver and was in a big accident, and they used that against him, even though his back was injured in military during Vietnam. Any rating. So any rating. Okay, so you can be permanent total, because it was a veteran that told me that he was a 70% rating permanent total. The one you want to make sure you get is that 100% permanent total. Well, you can be permanent at 70, 80, 90%. You can't be total unless you're paid at the 100% rate. Now, Yandell, wow. Okay, good to know. A lot of people have misconceptions that once you get PNT, they won't bother you anymore. Go look at our video, the last video, the 4 types of 100%. We talk about that. And re-examinations.
unwarranted re-examination. Watch our video. It's a short video. Now, let's see what we got here. We're not going to go over the whole video, but we're going to go over the first part, and we talk about that Mr. VA expert. Watch out for people that's claiming to be experts. All right? Now, they're going to tell anybody that tells you that your claim, if you go to them, or anybody on YouTube, any lawyer, anybody that tell your claim is going to be simple, fast, or easy, they don't know what the VA going to do with your claim. They might have an inexperienced rater or several raters looking at your one claim, passing it around. They don't know. So anybody promise you something fast, you better watch out for that. Look at them with the side eye. Let's see what he got here. Okay, I'm sure they don't have the resources to look at everyone's record, but you don't want to be surprised. That's why you need to be prepared. Instead of being surprised, you need to be prepared. Don't worry, just be prepared. Okay? Remember that. Now let's see what we got here. So remember, don't have itching ears. Somebody telling you, they online telling you, and they on YouTube talking about, yes, we can get you 100%. We can do this here. They haven't even looked at your evidence. What they talking about? Next slide. This is what Yin Dale does, and this is what makes her so incredible. This is what makes D-Law incredible, and our other members that give that knowledge. She gives you information that you can verify on the VA website. How can you beat that? So whenever you get any information from somebody, verify it. We got a gentleman that I watch who has a very good, he's very good at giving out veteran benefits. But sometimes he kind of overstate things because of what he feels. You got to let him know whether, see, I tell you when I think something, and I tell you what I know. When it comes to post-traumatic stress disorder, I know. When it comes to back or foot injuries, certain things, I don't know. When it comes to how to file a claim, I know. But I speak on that which I know. Now let's see what we got here. You see, we did that. Okay, I'm sure they won't look, they don't have a resource. Okay, we don't be surprised. She did say that. So whenever you're talking about dealing with somebody, verify that information. Verify that information. Somebody talk about they gonna help you, verify the information they give you. If somebody tell you something that could mess up your, oh man, you can work, you ain't gotta worry about it. You can go ahead and do that. The VA ain't gonna check you no more. You're a permanent total, or they don't look at you. That person ain't gonna pay you if you lose your rating. So verify what information people give to you before you file for anything. Verify. Come here to the H-Town Vet. We got people like Ian Dale. We got people like Angel. We got people like all our brothers and sisters. Now let's see what Angel say. Angel says, if anyone has been or is hunting for 100% permanent total status, take heed. The P equals permanent condition, not expected to improve. There you go. Look how Angel just laid it out for us. The T means total, indicating 100% static rating, which can only be reduced. All right. All right. Remember, the T means static, not likely to improve. Remember, the P means permanent. Hold on. Total means you paid at the 100% rate, not static. My fault. Total means you paid at the 100% rate. That means you're totally disabled. It deals with severity level. The P, permanent, that's the static part, meaning not likely to improve. But you got most of it right, my brother. I'm going to have to write this down because I like the way you put it out. I like that. Next thing, and I don't know if anybody ever experienced it. Have anybody ever say, "I'll help you with your benefits," but you have to sign an NDA saying that you're not gonna tell nobody about how I helped you? Don't sign anything when it comes to your money, dealing with a non-disclosure agreement. Now, if they mess over you, you should have a right to tell everybody. Now, let's see what he said. If fraud or unusual conditions which indicate the condition improved, so there should be no discontinued medication or treatment. You should always seek treatment. It might change what type of treatment you get, whether that be medication, whether that be group therapy, individual therapy, going to different programs that they have, going to the emergency room if you need to. Always. I like that. Thank you, Angel. Now, when you're dealing with somebody talking about helping you, you want full disclosure. You want to know. You understand? You want full disclosure. You want them to tell them what you gonna help me with. Ain't no secrets. If I'm handing you over money, I want to know what you're gonna do for me. And they should be honest. If, let's say, they say there's a chance you may not get it, anybody that give you a guarantee, walk away. Ain't no guarantees when it comes to anything in life. The only guarantees I got is I'm gonna be black and die. That's it. And then you want to look at other veterans. Did other veterans, what is their success rate? Somebody put that in the chat earlier. What is their success rate? And I put veteran satisfaction. Do you have any documentation on veterans being satisfied? Can you give me somebody that you help? Can I get a reference from someone else that say you helped them? I'm talking more when you got other veterans or people that are not official groups. Now, what about you go to a specialist that you have to pay out of pocket for assistance to get a higher rating? Now, here we go. We need credentials. If you got a lawyer that sends you to a specialist, we talking about specialists up in here. If y'all, that's why I'm replaying this part, because y'all may not have seen it. If they send you to a specialist, cool. If your doctor send you to a specialist, they're general practitioner, that's good. If your lawyer sends you to a specialist, if you find somebody that has credentials, that has a state license or has some type of licensing saying that, but some, watch out. Or if they just good at helping people with claims. They got some veterans out there that do it on their own without any certification. And they've helped people. Now, here we go. When you're asking people, you don't just want to know the who, the what, the where, the why, the how. You want to know the how much. When that lawyer talking about they gonna help you with your claim, that they feel that they can do it, they don't pay, you don't have to pay them nothing up front. Watch people that you got to pay up front, because they can get your money and run off with it. But with lawyers, you can report them to the bar, where you can make complaints against lawyers, and sometimes they'll come back and fix it with you. Yeah, they will. Now, but don't report nobody unnecessarily. Now, you want to know how much up front. Any case you get a divorce case, ask that lawyer what it's going to cost if we go here. I need a fee basis. That's what you need to write down, a thing showing a financial sheet. If you just have to help me doing one hearing, doing the second hearing, the third hearing, let them know. Ask them that. How much? If somebody helping you, do the lawyer want 20%? Ask what percentage they get out the game. I think, okay, what about the specialist? Okay, we're going to get to it. Now, ask them, do they give money back guarantees? Lawyers, most of them, if they don't win, they don't get anything, but they're not going to take a case that they don't believe that they can win. They usually going to take a case that might take a couple of years for them to win, but then that back pay gonna build up and they get a certain percentage. If they think you can win the claim easily, they're not gonna get much back pay, so they don't want to put too much effort in it. You know, this is the game. Now let's see here. Ask a veteran help you. Ask them they do a money back guarantee. Now, remember we gotta focus on what we're looking for. As a veteran, we gotta be consistent. If you have an appeal, now where your range at? New people in here, what range you fall? This is a scale that I created. VA disability range of percentage. Now we in the after party, so we just going over some things here. Now, do you fall in the low range, 0 to 20%, moderate range, 30 to 50%, considerable range, 60 to 90%, high range, temporary 100%, individual unemployability, which is another temporary rating. That's the high range. Ultimate range, 100% permanent total or TDIU. Those are both permanent and total ratings. Let us know in the chat. Now, here go this independent medical evaluation that many of you that came in late, y'all didn't see this. We went over this earlier. This is important. We talked about this. Is amazing that y'all talked about it. Now, here we go. You need, when you get them independent, let's say you have a general practitioner doctor, independent doctor, like they said earlier, if you got something that you injured your eye in the military, that's your visual impairment. You got a back injury from the military service. Let your doctor know about that. You got an ankle injury and you have PTSD. Now you can go to specialists for this thing. Okay, you can have specialists. What type of specialists? We're gonna talk about it. You can go to a vision, if you have vision impairment, you can go to some type of eye doctor. If you got back problems that you entered in the military, you can go to doctors that deal with certain parts of the back, muscle tears, all that, anything that's dealing with back problems. If you injure yourself, let's say you parachute not in the military, you can go to and you injure your ankle, you can go to a specialist that deal with joint injuries. Now, if you have PTSD, you ain't gonna necessarily go to a PTSD doctor. You can go to a psychiatrist, a mental health specialist, such as a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or a psychiatric practical nurse. They have nurses that can help you. Now, did y'all consider this one? Who thought about this one? A disability employment specialist. So you don't just need somebody dealing with remember, your VA disability will be based on your inability to work, not just your social issues, not just your memory loss, but it's a function, your severity is a function of your ability to work. If you get a disability employment specialist, they may go by different names. They can do an evaluation. What are they evaluating? Your job skills. And if you don't have the proper job skills and need to sustain yourself because of your disability, that'll work in your favor. They can do a job analysis, what jobs you would qualify given your current disability, and taking all that data together and assessing it, saying this person is unemployable or not, or is employable or not. If they say you're employable, don't turn it into the VA, just keep it. But yeah, you can pay some money for this if this is a legitimate person. All right, if they got credentials, check credentials. Remember, we say verify information, verify credential information. Now, and we went over that's that. Now, if y'all got any other questions, we're going to call it a night. Any last shout outs? I'm putting my last shout out. Any last statements? The H-Town Vet said peace. Any compliments to the people to help? Thank you Yandel, thank you, Angel. All right, thank you, Yo Poppy. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the information, Yandel, that you put out. Thank you all for the information, and the questions are just as important because we're problem solving. This is like a think tank where we have for veterans where we can learn from each other. That's the whole purpose. Thank you, PA, Political Revolution Podcast. Let me correct that. I apologize. PA, Political Revolution Podcast. They may have their own channel. You can check it out. Thank you, Logic, if you're still in the building. Thank you, Mr. International. Thank you, our brother, John Thompson. Thank you, Osprey, if you're still here. Thank you, Haitian Stock Guy. You know I got love for you, brother. Always coming through with powerful information. Bernie, my man. I don't care what nobody say. Bernie could take my woman and I wouldn't be mad at it. Huh? Bernie, Jose, he was new. If you're still here, thank you, Jose, brother. Checking all the people, make sure I cover. If I didn't cover you, I apologize. Military Mike, thank you for the donation on the Cash App. Again, let me see. AMP4 Miami, thank you. You real with it. We appreciate having you here. All of y'all. Now, thank you to Elijah Johnson. Thank that young lady for joining. Kevin, who's a regular. And this is going to conclude any last statements, goodbyes. The next stream should be on Sunday. Our next stream, we're going to try to do streams on Sundays and Thursday if possible. Sunday about, I guess, between about 7 p.m. Then put about. And that 7 p.m. is Central. Because I'm in Texas, I'm the H-Town vet. Now let's see. Let's see what they got here. Peace and say you're welcome. Thank you very much. We're going to get these. And I'm going to close out once I get the last comments. Much love, guys. You are awesome. So are you. Angel said, thank you, bro. And thank you, Yandel. Thank you, Angel. Man, y'all making me feel important. And this the after party. This is where we get to just freestyle. So if that's it, this concludes this broadcast of the H-Town Vet. And we thank y'all for being here. And good night.